And welcome, folks, to another edition of Steady Droppin Dimes. Here, live, and ready to go from Michigan State. Representing with the colors, representing with the maize and blue. You know, with the Bucksaw shirt jack. You know, I'm wearing the colors. I wore the Wolverine shirt jack last week, and it got Michigan the victory. So I tend to when it comes to the rivalry games, I tend to be a little superstitious. So I'm gonna double down on it. So I'm wearing another Wolverine shirt jack, and I'm doubling down with the Will Johnson turnover department cap, and I do still have your turnover department cap, Daniel. So I have not worn your gear.
You also have mine.
I have an extra since Devin has his own.
No, you also have mine.
Yeah,
I have an extra for your son too that I've commandeered.
How long we going on now? How long we going on? 7 months? 8, 10 months?
I've commandeered for you since Devin was able to get an extra one for himself. I've commandeered another one for you, by the way.
Is it extra if my original has been hostage? Is it extra or is it just one?
You got another one for yourself, so that means you don't need that other one.
So my question is, how can it be another? How can it be another if there's no original?
You said you didn't need that one anymore, right?
I never said that. I've only begged for it. I've only begged for it for 10 months. That's it.
You said you didn't need it anymore. I could have sworn that's what you said.
I never said those words.
I swear that's what you said.
Hey, Devin Will about to be playing for a whole other team.
He don't even play for Michigan no more.
Hey, but he's diversifying. He's gonna have turnover department gear on every campus. Like he has a whole line. Like he's
so what you're saying is 130 some universities, 32 NFL teams possibly, and we still won't have ours.
They'll all get it before we do.
Hey, you gonna have your Saints brand turnover department gear, Daniel. So there you go.
Hopefully we get to draft it.
Yeah, you might. All right. So listen, folks, we got a lot of material to unpack here. Looking forward to it today because it's always great when we talk about the Aldi of the Big Ten, Michigan State. That's what I like to call them. You know, we like to unpack this program and talk about how they are going to get dispatched this week, tomorrow, here in this game as they come to Chrysler Arena and get dealt with by our Wolverines. But we're going to need an assist from all of you because one of our proud sponsors is going to join us on this show today. And he is more than a sponsor. This is my brother. I love this man. This is my guy. Because he's my guy. He's my friend. He's my brother. And he will not be at the game tomorrow. Now, we also need to do him a favor because, see, I've been in this predicament before. You know how when you can't be at a place and everybody else is at the place and you don't want anybody to tell you what's going on? Like you want to know what happened, but you want to see it later on. So you don't want anybody to tell you what happened at the game.
I do that quite frequently.
So listen, Sean Duval, my brother, it's my guy. Golden Limo. Now, you know, it's like everybody at Michigan medicine, Michigan athletics. Like if you are the University of Michigan, basically you ride on Golden, right? Which you will find out. Listen, you see Sean Duval anywhere in South, don't say anything about this game. Can you do us a solid? Okay, if you see Sean Duval, if you see his lovely wife Alina, don't say anything about this game. If you see him in the street, don't say nothing. Don't say anything about this game. You got to do us a favor, right? Because Golden does you a favor. They get you there on time every time, right? Devin, haven't you got there on time every time?
On time every time. Sometimes they get you there twice, baby. You be on time. It's like you got there twice. It's crazy.
All the time. That's how
safe, quick.
That's how it works with Golden. They always get you to your destination safely. Right? It is uncanny, their ability to make sure that you arrive to your destination with the utmost urgency, but with safety.
You know what I'm starting to think that Senior Duval and his comrades over at Golden Limo, I think they got control over time a little bit. Because a few times I'd have been late down to that car. They've been down there waiting, and it's on me. I didn't understand what time was going on, and we still get there on time. How? Are you in control of the clocks? Why aren't we speeding? We need to speed. Oh no, we don't. We're there 10 minutes early still. I don't understand. So it's a little sorcery going on there that I'm not really. I don't really know about. But hey, man, Golden Limo gets it done.
Well, you guys ought to know by now. Steady Droppin Dimes, since its inception, has been brought to you by Golden Limo, and joining us right now, our proud sponsor and my great friend, my brother, Sean Duval. He joins us right now. So as we bring him to the stage, Sean, my brother, as we are happy to have you join us with us here on this great episode of Steady Droppin Dimes. We are happy to as we come on this broadcast on a weekly basis and talk about Golden Limo. I think people are they hear us talk about it and how we so often talk about getting to our destination, where we talk about the bus or we talk about the airport transport. We're always riding on Golden, but we talk about the face behind the company. Now we are happy to have you on. So welcome to the show.
Thanks. I love the intro, and I absolutely love you telling your audience not to tell me what's going on. Don't say anything about the game.
Don't say anything about the game, man, because I know I hate it when I go out and the game is going on and you got people on their phones talking about the game. I want to wait till I get out and I actually get home and I see the game for myself. Like I want to see it and experience it like I was there live. So we want the people to actually do you the courtesy of letting you experience the game as if you were there live. So folks, do shine a solid and don't say anything about the game. But listen, all joking aside, I know for as long as I've known you, your partnership with Michigan has to me been a staple of the company. It's been synonymous with the excellence that is Golden. It's been a testament to the excellence that is Golden.
Yeah, Sam, Michigan is globally recognized for their excellence. They're always one of the top institutions for academics, but also the excellence of the athletic department. It's one of the few cash flow positive universities, which just speaks volumes about the excellence that they bring to the table, and in not just what they put on the field, but also in their operations. And just being connected to that and being aligned with that level of excellence, it just reinforces and validates our own reputation as a top tier service provider. They don't suffer fools. If you're a bad coach, if you're a poor performing player, you're not going to be around long. And I think that because we've been in partnership with the university for a couple of decades now, I think that it just really speaks volumes about our ability to provide that level of excellence.
Yeah, and so I think most people associate you guys on game days when you're standing next to Michigan Stadium. You see those coaches rolling up, and it's the Michigan football team arriving, and they're arriving on Golden. It's the Michigan football, the football team. That championship season, you knew the champs were there. The champs are here when the Golden Limo buses rolled up.
It's pretty badass. I mean, it really is. And you see You see, especially at postseason, and you see all of the fans lined up around, and you see on ESPN the buses rolling out to take the team to the airport and the police escort, and it just gives you that sense of pride that Michigan's riding on Golden and the champions are riding on Golden, and then being there when they come back and picking them up at the airport, and just seeing that lineup of all the coaches ready to grab everybody. It's just one of the coolest things. Gives you just enormous sense of pride, and that pride isn't just my own. It goes throughout the entire organization. All the operators and the chauffeurs want to be driving the coaches. They take possession of their individual bus, and that's their team, and the same guys get on the same bus, so they know this is my crew. Hey, we're missing this guy. No, he's not coming. It's okay. No. Are you sure? I gotta make sure everybody's there. They are so into being a part of the Michigan family, especially athletics. But Sam, we go way beyond athletics.
Mm-hmm.
The business school, the School of Pharmacy, the University of Michigan hospital system, all throughout the University of Michigan system. Golden Limousine is there. We're there on contract, so they've contracted us, but 24 hours a day. In the middle of the night, the student needs a ride home, they just call a number and we just show up and pick them up and get them home. Not too many universities do that, but it's something the university feels is important for their student population, and they trusted us to do that work for them. So I think it's really cool, and again speaks to that excellence that Golden Limousine brings to the table.
Yeah, I mean, I know you can't speak to this, but I can. I know when it comes to recruiting trips, the coaches call you to go pick up the recruits from the airport. I know you do that part of it as well. The other part that you do, and this was something that you prioritize, but when it came to NIL, you made it a point, and this is something that you called me about. You really wanted to get behind NIL, but you went the extra mile. You wanted to be very select, very individual. You wanted to know the stories. You wanted to, hey, tell me about this guy. Like, for instance, when the first year, you were like, hey, I wanna know about. Tell me about some of the young guys that are coming in. I remember, before Will Johnson played a down at Michigan, you got with Will. Or this past year, you picked up on Zeke Berry, and then you jumped in on Zeke when you realized. I remember we were talking about him, and you jumped on Zeke when you realized he had a chance to go back home, and he decided not to transfer, and he bet on himself, and he said, you know what? Instead of transferring, I'm gonna win the job here at Michigan. I'm gonna stay at Michigan. I'm gonna earn the starting spot here at Michigan. So before he was even the starter.
Yep.
You signed an NIL deal with him here at Michigan.
Sam, I got to tell you, the idea that you actually brought this to us, we don't know anything about NIL. We just knew that this was happening, and we needed to support athletics and make sure that we were competitive. We don't have Nike NIL money, but we have, we have enough to be able to partner with the young guys. And so, Will, you brought Kofi and Dion over, and we were able to meet his parents at our house and meet Will and really understand how our NIL program would work. And we actually worked it out with them, how our NIL program would work, where we're celebrating their excellence in partnership with the community and the nonprofits that we're supportive of. So being able to partner with Destination Ann Arbor or the homeless shelter, the Community Foundation, those organizations kind of got to get a front row seat in partnership of the NIL through Golden, and with Will, and now with Zeke, and with Semaj. Partnered a little bit with Alex Orji. Some really cool relationships, and it was really about the person and their families. And I met Semaj Senior. It's been a really good opportunity. I've met Dante. Zeke's brother. Those relationships are really, really powerful. And these guys are authentic and they're real. They're it was really funny. And I don't know, I'm probably sharing out of turn, but we had our event a couple of weeks ago, and Zeke kind of turned over to the side and said, "When do I get to stop taking pictures?" Because, I said, "Zeke, never. You're a star, man. The rest of your life, you will be in pictures. Somebody is going to be taking your picture all the time." And it was just that, it's all about growth and growing the character, growing the person, and it just kind of, his eyes kind of like, yeah, you're right. Somebody is always going to be taking my picture. I am always going to be, that person that's going to be in the frame.
Yeah.
And I'm having a ton of fun with the NIL program. We're learning a lot, and I think we're doing some good. And we're not part of the official program. It's just, let me find some freshmen that we know we can help guide through this this athletic and college experience, and get them injected into our community. And they'll be like Devin, they'll be like Daniel. They'll always be part of this community.
Yeah.
Even if they go away, play for somebody else, they'll always still be part of this community.
Yeah, you're the first NIL deal for a lot of these guys, man. And you try to school them and teach them, like, hey man, when you go in, meet people like at your event.
Yeah.
Telling a lot of these guys when they were there, hey man, when you're here, meet people, shake hands. There are a lot of people in this room that you might have. You came here on a deal, and you got 10 more deals in this room.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's how you got to think about it. Think about it like that.
Every event that we have our guys go to, those are the people that have donated a lot of money to these nonprofits and these organizations. So if you're within 25 feet of excellence, you will be excellent. If you're within 25 feet of a poor performer, you will be a poor performer. And so if we can put these guys in a room with people who have achieved and are doing great things in the community, they're going to see that, and they're going to align with that, and they're going to return that back to the community and back to their personal lives and their families.
Yeah, we used to have this thing when I was a kid called Each One Teach One.
Yeah,
so that's kind of how the whole sort of approach has been as we bring these young guys into the umbrella. It's kind of been like a each one teach one kind of thought process. Hey man, as you come into the umbrella, you're gonna learn something. You're gonna get some deals, and you're gonna learn something along the way. You're gonna get one deal, you're gonna get two deals, you're gonna learn something along the way. You're gonna pick up some deals, and you're gonna pick up some knowledge too. And so it's been that way. And I think you're teaching guys as you are also, you're signing them to deals, but you're teaching them some business sense as well, Sean. So enriching them in multiple ways, my friend. That's something to be commended. And at the same time, as we move forward, I want to talk about to the people, because we're talking so much about your partnership with Michigan. We need to tell the people about how they can benefit from riding on Golden, whether it's here in Southeast Michigan, whether it's, in Washtenaw County, in Metro Detroit. But I always tell the folks, we got people that are watching, out of state, they're watching some people outside the country. I tell them all the time, I was in Paris. I was in Rome, and I was riding on Golden. And I was like, no, you weren't. Yes, I was. I was riding on Golden in other countries, Sean. Am I exaggerating?
No, you're not exaggerating. I really think it's fun that, again, we had that event a couple of weeks ago, and you got to meet all those people that make that happen for you. Debbie, who always says yes, no matter whether we can do it or not, she says yes, and then we figure out how to make it happen. But yeah, anywhere that you're traveling in the world, we're so versatile. We have such a diverse fleet and a diverse service offering. So it's not just athletic teams riding on big buses, but executive luxury car service, airport transportation, point-to-point shuttles. And again, anywhere you need to go take a trip down into the Devil's House in Columbus, you can go there. You can take you to Perdon't. If we need to travel over to Perdon't, we'll take you there. We'll go wherever we need to go. But it's not just leaving from Ann Arbor. When you land in New York, or when you land in Washington, D.C., or when you land in Rome, we'll have a car waiting for you there on the other side. And we've developed this network of partners, and we want to take care of our people when they leave. And we know that the plane's going to land on the other side somewhere. We're going to make sure that there's somebody that's going to treat you like a Golden Limousine customer on the other side of that journey. And even tours and sightseeing and all kinds of different things like that happen. Golden Limousine is there to provide those types of services. We were doing a trip for a friend in South Africa, which is so cool because I've never been there before, but it was a heck of a lot of fun living vicariously through them as they were doing their tours that Golden Limousine set up for them.
Yeah, man, it's one of those deals. I mean, you see the fleet, whether it's the SUVs, the sprinters, the motor coaches. I mean, the fleet, they have it all with Golden. They get you there on time, every time. That's the Golden difference.
Hey, Sam, I want to say really fast, I know you got to go, but I always got to tell you, you showed a lot of mettle, and we're really proud of our fleet, but I'm more proud of the people. These guys are so fanatical about being Golden. They hold each other up to a high standard. It's like when you have a really good senior or captain leadership team, that's what we have. And when the new guys come in, they set the standard for them, and they just really care about the customers so much. Devin said it exactly right. Yep, I know where you got to be. I know when you got to be there. I'm not going to speed. I'm going to be safe, but you will be there on time every time.
That is the case. That is the case.
And Sam appreciates the Pellegrinos the most. He likes to be on time. He likes to be there safely. But I think at the top of Sam's list is the ability to just reach in that cooler, go ahead, grab him a Pellegrino, and have a little sip as he rides so comfortably on Golden. Just to be clear, I don't know. Maybe I'll speak for you, Sam. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll speak for you. I'm sorry. My bad, man.
You know, he has the finer tastes.
You know, he fancy. You can't just have regular old water in there. You can't have no Dasani or Smart. You gotta have a little sizzle to it. That's what Sam has. It has to be the glass bottle too. He told me it can't be the plastic. Got it.
That's how you can wear a shacket. Is it a jacket or a jert? A jert. I don't know. A jacket shirt.
That's
I do. That is an acquired taste of mine. Only since I've been riding on Golden have I started drinking San Pellegrino. That I started drinking that once I got in the Sprinter or the party bus that time. I was like, oh, this is really good.
Sam been on Golden now. Wait, what a pail? No pail? Oh, no pail over here. Hey, Sam, relax. We got the Pellegrino for you waiting over there. Put your seatball on before we give it to you. What we saying?
No,
he's throwing a fit trying to get a car that has it.
It definitely is an experience that, when you ride on Golden, it's different. Especially when I travel and I have to carry my equipment. Like we're going on a big work trip and we have to carry all of our equipment. That is every time. That is how we go, for sure.
Yeah, Golden then made 2 straps, no straps. He don't even carry his own stuff no more.
Hey, Sam, he rented a car on family vacation and got mad they didn't have Sam
is basically a strapless bra at this point because Golden is taking all of his straps away.
You see what I deal with?
We're going to call him strapless bra Sam.
Sean, I love you. And so listen, ladies and gentlemen, please do us a solid. Now, Sean cannot attend the game. Now, he's at the Michigan games religiously, but he cannot attend the game tomorrow night. when you see this man and his lovely wife in Southeast Michigan tomorrow, you cannot say anything about the Michigan State game.
Just between 8 and midnight, 8 p.m. and midnight. Don't talk to me.
All right. So, Sean, appreciate you, my friend. You know, we'll talk to you again soon and celebrate that Michigan victory because that's what's going to happen. All right. Thanks a lot, Sean. Appreciate you.
Bye, guys.
All right, folks. You know what you do. You got to ride on Golden. Devin, listen, I know we got limited time with you, so we're going to switch this around real quick in the time we got left with you. And I'm going to ask you this question about Michigan football because spring ball is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this sentiment, this growing sentiment about the quarterback situation. Optimism, excitement about this young fella because he is so immensely talented. And the closer we get to spring ball, I'm like, man, I'm just the talk in the ear. It's like, you know what? Man, this dude, he's so talented. Don't be surprised if he winds up being the guy as a true freshman. Don't be surprised. The talk is growing. Now, again, it's spring ball. It's gonna be that kind of optimism, but now you get to the point where, okay, if it's gonna happen, how do you facilitate it? Not to the point where you tip the scales. But if it's gonna happen, if it looks like he's gonna win it, how do you make it so he has the best chance of success? Here's what I mean as I'm setting up the question, Devin. It's one thing to say, can you have a good season with a freshman quarterback? Sure you can. Sure you can. It's another thing to say, can you win a championship with a freshman quarterback? Because Devin, I can't think of a time. I can't think of a scenario where I've seen a championship team with a freshman quarterback. So how do you get a quarterback ready to lead a championship team? How do you get a freshman ready to lead a championship team? How do you do that? Assuming that he's leading the pack, you know, he's winning the job. How do you get that guy ready? Because there has to be a process to doing that if it's looking like he's going to win the job.
I'm a little disappointed in you, Sam, because I vividly remember me outlining this great scenario that Michigan could have had 2 years before their championship run with J.J. McCarthy. And a lot of people were saying, well, he's a freshman and what have you. But we played so well with one quarterback and all this. And I just continue to take people back to Trevor Lawrence and Clemson and reminded everybody at the time I was totally against the kid's name was Bryant, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't remember the quarterback that was a starter that had won the ACC championship and went to the playoff the year before.
Kelly Bryant, yeah.
And so, but they put Trevor Lawrence in the game. They fed him a little bit, and then they gave him the keys, and they went on to win the national championship, right? So that was the difference, right? Just a little bit better at the quarterback position. Now, this situation is a little different because it's not like you have a quarterback that went to the Big Ten championship a year ago, right? You don't have that kind of scenario. However, you do have a young quarterback with, I would imagine, will be a pretty good roster like Clemson had. And I remember Clemson really protecting their young quarterback early, right? With the ability to run the football, right? The ability, even though with some young receivers, the ability to make plays, right? Throw those easy throws and allow the yards after catch, different things like that. And they had great success with it. And when you look at a Bryce Underwood, we are looking at him as one of the greatest recruits to ever come out of high school football, right? That's what all the services are saying. And so you can't say, well, that was Trevor Lawrence. Oh, no. Trevor Lawrence was highly ranked, but we look at Bryce Underwood as a much higher recruit, even though, Trevor Lawrence was really high. And so I think that it has to be the run game and the offensive line. And the thing that's really cool about Michigan, this is what they do, right? So when he's ready, he'll be ready, right? He'll be able to take over games and do all the different things. But that at the onset, right? Because you said spring ball and you said it's just spring ball. Well, yeah, you don't get tackled, right? You don't get tackled. You don't really get a chance to get hit and know what the real fire is like, right? And so you'll get a chance to show your skills, but everybody won't be able to see how you'll react with real, true adversity, whether it be physical pain, mental distress because of a mistake or different things like that, right? So with that being said, you have to make sure you protect him with your play calls. And this is where offensive coordinators come in huge for young quarterbacks, being able to protect him with the screen game, which Coach Borges and I outlined at the Golden Limo event. The screen game, the draw game, the ability to just run the football, right? The ability to throw the ball quickly and allow your receivers to do the work for a young quarterback, because now you get the confidence of seeing completions. And we talk about it all the time on Monday Morning Quarterback. When a quarterback sees a bunch of completions in a row, no matter where they are, say it's a screen, maybe then a bubble screen, then a screen to the running back, then you throw a hitch, you've just got a kind of confidence about yourself that's saying, hey, I can't miss, right? It's a guy that misses. It's the guy that's on the basketball team that makes his first 4 or 5 shots. And it's like, we're going to have a long day guarding him because he's feeling a different kind of confidence, right? And so if you can continue to build that confidence early, if he becomes a starter, and then he starts to believe, I am the best player on this football field. Now you got issues, right? Because a guy that's super talented, right? Plus he believes he's the best on it, because as much as talented as he is, it's going to be hard initially as soon as he steps foot in the big house to say, I'm just the best, right? That's not realistic for anybody, even the most confident people. I've talked about my confidence in me playing a scrimmage in a big house and forgetting how to run, right? My legs aren't working, right? So the most confident people, when you get into these arenas, you don't have that a confidence that you can have once you've experienced success, right? So you manufacture great success for him, and maybe not even great, right? Just limited success. And I think that will be the spark that sparks the confidence that he needs to be the 100% recruit that he was looking to be.
Yeah. So you said a mouthful. You said a lot right there. So the Kelly Bryant scenario is not the scenario I'm talking about. It's an excellent point, but it's not the what I'm laying out here with.
Yeah, it's not the same as right.
What I'm talking about with Bryce in the scenario that I haven't seen is a guy from day one.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a freshman quarterback be the guy
and when you say be the guy, you don't mean you're just the quarterback. It means be the guy, right? Like we got a chance to go win it because of our freshman quarterback, right?
And well,
was Sam Bradford the guy?
Be the guy taking the snaps from day one of game one under center, and it's your show. That wasn't Trevor Lawrence. It was, like you said, it was Kelly Bryant, and then Dabo Sweeney. And you could give Dabo Sweeney some credit.
I was against it.
Kelly Bryant,
he made the right decision.
Yeah, he made the right decision, and he actually did Kelly Bryant a solid. He said, "Hey, you can preserve your red shirt. You know, I'm giving you some grace here too. I'm splitting the baby right now, and I'm going to the freshman quarterback at a time where it's actually beneficial to you too, right?" But that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
we're talking about can you manage this in a way if it's looking like he's winning the job, if it's looking like Bryce is winning the job, can you set this up in a way where you're nurturing him in
playing?
And you're setting him up even in the lead up to the games, and also while playing, that's conducive to winning a championship, not just being good. It's one thing to say I got a freshman quarterback and we're good. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about. You want to be a championship team. How can you do that? And you said something a moment ago that you are uniquely positioned to comment on. You said, hey, you throw 4 or 5 completions in a row and you want him to be the most confident guy in the world. What's most beneficial to him or for him, Devin? Because you're in spring ball and you're setting him up, and as the head coach, you're setting him up as the offensive coordinator, you're setting him up as the defensive coordinator. Do you want to be sending the type of defense that he's going to be seeing at Oklahoma, because Oklahoma's going to be throwing the kitchen sink at him, right? You want to send
and obviously Brett Venables is a guy who is a defensive mastermind.
You want to send the real live bullets at him to get him ready for the fire, or do you want to send him say, "Hey, listen, man, we're gonna send you some base stuff. We're gonna send you some stuff that we want you to get comfortable, right? Not vanilla, but comfortable. You're gonna go back. It's gonna be some things that it's not gonna be the kind of thing where you're gonna go back and it's gonna be like you playing 7-on-7, but you're gonna go back and you're probably gonna be able to step back there and you're gonna be able to read the defense. And eventually, by the end of spring ball, you're probably gonna go back there and be able to go back and get 4 or 5 completions in a row. Probably you're gonna go back there and feel like you're the best player in college football. What's better for him? Is it better for him to go back by the end of spring football and feel like he can hit 7 passes in a row? Or is it better for him by the end of college, by the end of spring football to feel like, man, I done got the kitchen sink thrown at me, and maybe I didn't complete 3 or 4 passes in a row, but I saw what I'm gonna see against Oklahoma. What's better, quarterback, University of Michigan?
The cool thing about spring ball and about the transition from high school to college, no matter what you throw, is going to be fast, right? No matter what happens, no matter what defense they give, it's going to be much faster than anything he's ever experienced, right? So he may feel as if the kitchen thing was thrown at him and it's just base stuff, right? And so for spring ball, you have to remember the defense is also working on things. They got young guys, right? So you're really just implementing base stuff on offense and on defense, right? So while you're going against those base defenses, you're also using base offense, right? And everybody's learning a new offense on offense, right? So it's not that they can't even throw the kitchen sink at them. They can't, right? It has to be a gradual process, right? Here's install for day 1 or week 1, right? You go through, okay, we got a handle on it. Let's move forward. And the defense and the offense, they move forward together, right? It's not like, oh, the defense they're going to keep moving forward and the offense is going to stay base. No, they have to move forward together. And that's why I really love spring ball and why spring ball can show you a lot. How do you take in information? And I think he's going to have an opportunity to, at the beginning, learn the base stuff, understand where our eyes, what is our footwork, all those different things. It's almost like football 101. And then as the spring continues, as the defense gets more complicated, right, the offense will get more complicated. And they'll have to deal with him as well, right? It's not like they just get to throw all their stuff at him and they can't have answers on offense, right? As they continue to grow together, the offense will have answers for the more complicated things that the defense starts to do towards the end of the spring. And that's where you should know, is this a guy that we can depend on, right? Because now you'll see, okay, he's very confident with that, and we give him a little more. He's very confident with that. We give him a little more, right? And by the end, like you said, maybe they're throwing the kitchen sink, and he has his kitchen sink ready too, right? So he's ready to catch it, or he has gloves that are capable of catching a kitchen sink. So I think that it's going to be a gradual process, just like any normal spring ball, and you'll be able to see how he retains the information. But it will be fast for him, just because you're coming from high school football.
I guess I'm just trying to get you to put me in the head of a quarterback, because you're a quarterback and you coach quarterbacks. What's more important at this stage of his development?
Learning how to play college football. He has never. You got to understand this. College football and high school football are 2 different sports, right? And this is why we see so many guys that, oh, they're so talented. Why can't they be successful? Well, because there's a lot of other things that go into real football. In my opinion, a lot of times high school football is fake. High school football has better players. High school football is that kid is in the 10th grade and he's got acne and he's worried about that and he can't perform well, right? A lot of times in high school, it's just not. In college is becoming more and more like the NFL, where this is these kids' job, right? This is their job to do this, right? So I just think that he has to find a way to understand how to play college football first, right? So the most important thing is understanding, like we talked about, footwork, understanding where are my eyes supposed to be. Eyes and footwork are going to be the things that allow him to progress extremely quickly. So if he has his eyes and his footwork, then you can start to add more things, because like we talked about, the talent is immense, right? The talent's been there since he was 6 years old, 5 years old, right? He has been the most talented player. Now you start to add in those different things to make him almost a football savant, and now he's unstoppable, right? If you have the talent that he has, size, speed, arm strength, arm angles, accuracy, all those things, and then you add the ability to learn the game the way it's supposed to be learned. And it's no offense to high school, right? You don't have the time, you don't have the resources as much. But when you get to this level, you get to understand how to play football. This is why a Patrick Mahomes gets to the NFL and says, I never even learned how to read coverage, right? It's levels to everything, right? You can be in college and be talented enough to not learn how to read coverage and still have success. But it's starting to change, right? It's starting to shift. You're not going to be able to do that anymore. You don't see it as often. So the talent has to align with the knowledge and the learning of how to play the game of football, essentially for the first time for a guy like him.
See, because if that's the case, here's what I'm getting at, Devin. If I might, listening to you, I might not be knowing if I'm Weak Martindale. If I'm Sharon Moore, I might be telling Weak Martindale, hey man, you got an extensive pressure package. I might not be running none of that when he's in there under center. I might not be running none of that.
Well, that'd be tough. That'll be tough because now you don't want to get a false sense of confidence where it's like you light the defense up and the defense isn't doing anything, right? And so now you believe in yourself. I mean, you're super confident. So now the first time that real adversity hits and it doesn't work, now it's like, oh my goodness.
I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Am I not favorable? That's why, I mean, and they're in the building. They're going to have, it's going to be, and people don't understand, it's not just spring football. They're going to be in the classroom. And you need to be in the classroom massaging his mind and understanding, what does he know? What can he handle? Is he truly confident in this, or was his talent able to carry him during practice today? You know what I mean?
That's why I was asking you. That's why I'm asking you, you being the quarterback, what's most important? If he's going to be my guy, am I prioritizing making him the most? Do I want him to believe he's Superman? Is that the most important thing coming out of the spring? Well, he ain't the fall ball yet. Fall ball, he got to see some stuff. Like he got to be able to see the bullets. He got to be able to dissect some defense. He got to know pressure and all that stuff.
You have to be patient, and the fans and the chat and everybody. You cannot, you can't manufacture this false confidence. It has to be organic. It has to be organic. Like you can't change spring ball in the way it's been done, right? And say, hey, we're gonna throw the kitchen sink at him, and now it's like, well, that's not how spring ball is done. That's not how a guy learns, right? That's not how you organically develop. And you also can't, let's just stay vanilla the whole time and not show him anything. Now he believes he's Superman and he hasn't saved anybody. He hasn't flown the speed of a flying bullet or whatever Superman does, right? So you have to make sure it's organic. And there are times where if he's not having any success, you manufacture some success there. Or if he's having way too much success, right, where you know it's not realistic because he's not being tackled, different things like that, you start to manufacture some things tougher to bring him back down to earth and say, hey, it gets more difficult, right? So it's up to the coaches to find that medium and find where they can kind of implement those different manufactured opportunities and also allow it to be organic and allow them to develop that confidence.
This is why it's hard with a freshman, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is why it's hard with a freshman.
Dude,
like
he's supposed to be going to prom. It's
yeah,
difficult.
man. Yeah, you're trying to skip steps.
You can't. If you skip steps, that's how you fail, right? And I'm not talking about the kid fail. I'm talking you failing him, right? If you skip steps, he's not going to ever reach the potential. I mean, maybe not. He won't ever, but he won't reach the potential the way that he should have because maybe it's because you're worried about your job or whatever the case may be. You're forcing him into these situations that he's not quite ready for. Also, you haven't prepared him for these situations he's not quite ready for. We see it every single year. I went back and looked at like every class from 2010 to like 2015 of like the top quarterbacks. And what did they do? And it's just like, obviously, I'm not in all those rooms and whatever, but a lot of those guys were thrown in the fire and they were not prepared and they were not ready. And then the coaches did away with them, right? They just got lost in the shuffle because guess what? Michigan's going to try to recruit the best quarterback next year as well, right? It's not like we're going to stop and say, oh, yeah, we recruited one. We're not going to. Yeah. No, you got to continue to reload, and that's going to help Bryce as well. So I just think that you cannot, let me reiterate, you cannot skip steps and force him into situations that he's not quite prepared for, especially before you get to fall camp. I think that spring ball should be used as an opportunity to learn, right? To learn how to play football at this level. And it starts with the basics.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you're trying to as a process what most quarterbacks go through to become a champion. You're trying to expedite his process. That's a better way to say it. You're trying to expedite his process.
Yeah,
and that's tough to do.
And a lot of us, we can't absolve Bryce completely either. A lot of it will be up to him too, right? I think he's 50-50 in this, where the studying, the understanding, the picking up things as quickly as you can. And if he's not picking up as quickly as he can, as you might want him to, you got to find manufacture ways. That's why you get paid a lot as a coach. You got to manufacture ways for him to figure it out, right? You got to manufacture. He's a smart kid, guy that got all A's for most of his life. You've got to figure out a way for him to understand what you're trying to get done, because his talent speaks for itself. So if he's putting in the work and you're putting in the work, there's no way this can't be successful, right?
Yeah, man.
But the expediting the process is not the answer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope that Jaden Davis has really worked on his game. I hope that he balls out, and because if he balls out,
that helps everything.
Because hey, maybe you have balled out to the point where maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Or maybe Mikey King, with his experience with Chip Lindsey, maybe he said because what I heard he said he came on this visit. I was talking to Borges about this because Borges was down there. You got to go, Devin. So Borges spent he was down there the whole bowl prep before they went down to Tampa or wherever. Borges was basically down there every day. I don't know.
He was in the meetings and everything.
Yeah, he was in meetings and everything. Yeah, Borges he was all out there. He was coaching them up and everything, right? So he wasn't coaching. No, he wasn't coaching. He was not coaching. Let me not say that. He was not coaching. He was just around. Hell, before I got the NCAA all up in my ass. No, he was not coaching. So that was not happening.
Where will they be? Come on, Sam.
Yeah. So I mean, NCAA, man. So he was not coaching. But he was like, man, Mikey King came on this visit and he said, listen, will I get a fair shot? You tell me I get a fair shot.
I'm in.
But if I lose the job, I'll coach your guy.
And it can't be expressed enough how valuable a guy who's played football, no matter the level, right? He's played a lot of football, being in a position to have the shares, because there'll be bumps in the road, right? And it's hard to, even for Davis, he hasn't had the struggles of a college quarterback, right? He hasn't lived his life as a college quarterback and played in games and all those different things either, right? So having a guy that's played and experienced some success, but has experienced some failure as well in the room to make sure, hey, it's not always going to be like this. It's not going to always be sunshine and rainbows, but it's also not going to always be not being able to be successful. So I think that is an invaluable part of this equation, that obviously if he wins the job, great for him, and Michigan will be better for it. However, if he doesn't, him being willing to use his shared experiences to help the young quarterbacks is you can't buy that kind of help.
Yeah, but he didn't come. Hey, but he didn't come to coach. He's like, hey man, I came to get this job.
Yeah,
I came to play. So it's gonna be a battle now. And Jaden Davis, he didn't stay to sit the bench.
He didn't stay to hang out. He didn't stay because of an NIL deal, nothing like that. He wants to play football at the University of Michigan. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah,
he wants to play football. He wants to be the quarterback. Got a chance to talk with him, and go out to eat and do some things this past couple months, and he got a fire. He's got a fire. Yeah. He, as well as Ben Hall, as well as all those guys who haven't got their opportunities yet, that have shown flashes, they are all excited for an opportunity. And just like a true competitor, he loves that Bryce Underwood is there, right? Because if you win this job, I mean, it is not there can be no questions about if you're the guy, right? If you beat out the tall, amazingly talented #1 player in the country, you won that job. That wasn't like he lost it. You won it. And I think that he relishes in that opportunity.
Hey man, he said during recruiting, and his dad said during recruiting, I hope they recruit Bryce Underwood. I remember being down there. They said it when it was actually they were actually still in the mix at that time. Right? They recruiting him. I want them to recruit him. So they weren't. That was never a thing for them where they was like, I hope they don't.
Yeah, he got a new cut too. He got a new haircut, so he ready to go.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
you know,
man.
you start getting a haircut. You know, I'm a new man. Hey, he don't. Hey, I haven't seen him in a little bit, but I don't know if he got his waves yet. I said, what is this hair? Where are your waves? What are you doing? You gotta get your brush. He's like, man, I cut my hair 2 days ago. I don't want to hear it. If you cut your hair, you need waves. If I cut my hair down, I'm gonna have waves in 2 days, 24 hours. So.
Yeah, so he ready to go. He's serious about it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, let's battle, you know, and for all intents and purposes, they all have a clean slate, with the exception of Mike. I mean, I guess Mikey King would have the advantage of experience with Chip Lindsey. So, you know, let's go. Let's see how it goes. But that old God-given talent with 19, it's gonna be interesting to see what that does for him in this race. But Devin, hey man, I know you got a scoop. So, brother, appreciate you.
All
appreciate
right,
you, my friend.
Go Blue. Obviously, Michigan's gonna get it done. It's just amazing. They are so good. All right, I'm out. Can't wait.
All right, man.
Peace.
So Daniel, time for you to slide up to the top. We're gonna talk some Michigan basketball, my brother. We're gonna talk some Michigan basketball, Michigan State. Man, this game is personal. We talking about Michigan taking on those Sparties for the top of the Big Ten supremacy. And it really is simple to me. The most important stat in this game from Michigan's perspective, Mr. Horton, turnovers, brother. And I've been saying it for the better part of this week. They got to stay at under 12 turnovers in this contest. That is the magic number for me. In the games that Michigan State has lost this season, teams have turned the ball over under 12 times. I think, listen, man, they got to be able to get out and run. Michigan State does. They got to be able to get up and down. If you make it a half-court game for Michigan State, they struggle. You know, they're a team that if you make them shoot jumpers, they struggle. Michigan they've taken better care of the basketball of late, but we know, Daniel, that this is a squad that I think is gonna tax their ball handling ability more than any team they faced to this point. And so that is a concern for me in this contest. Can they keep the turnovers down? Because if they don't, that's going to play into the hands of a team that whose running game will let them off the hook and will mitigate their shooting deficiencies.
Yeah, not for sure. Michigan State, they're a team that want to run on makes and misses, right? Whether you miss shots or whether you make the shot, whether the ball's going through the net or coming off the rim, they're trying to get out and run. And that's how they kind of compensate for not being able to shoot as well. That and offensive rebounds. So you're concerned about the turnovers, which is fair. I'm more concerned about the offensive rebounds for a team that can't shoot, right? So they lead the conference in offensive average 12 plus offensive rebounds per game, right? So if you turn the ball over 12 times, give up 12 offensive rebounds, give up 18 plus free throws makes per game, which they average, you're going to lose. So, like you said, I would like that turnover number to be below 10, right?
I'm trying to be realistic, Daniel.
No, but they can do it. They can do it. I think what you've seen the last couple of weeks, you've seen them move the ball a little bit earlier in transition, right? You see a lot of early and opposite cross-court passes to the two side, which is basically got a guy at the 45 guy in the corner, right? So you see a lot of early and opposite cross-court passes, which puts the defense in an early bind based on defensive principles and tendencies. So that kind of limits turnovers when you got a team scrambling and closing out, and you're attacking closeouts early, right? The trouble comes we've seen when Michigan tries to, I think Chris Hunter and I, we call it the doing too much segment, So I think when they get caught trying to do too much, whether they're passing out of motion or they're over dribbling or not reading the rotations properly, then you see high turnovers from this team. But I think when they're locked in, like they've been the last couple of weeks, they tend to play pretty well, take care of the ball pretty good.
Yeah, man. You look at Michigan State against Purdue. They turned Braden Smith over 6 times.
Yep.
In that game.
And it wasn't necessarily ball pressure though. It was more so Michigan State's blocks and elbows principles that they're famous for, where they're heavy in the gaps. When you watch the film, we did the film breakdown. They were just taking the ball from guys as they penetrated, trying to get to the paint, and the guy comes over and he's a big help in the gap, and he's just stripping the guy with the ball. They're getting deflections because they have active hands in those situations. So it's not like they're picking guys' pockets high on the floor, right? Their heavy help and rotation defense creates a lot of havoc and a lot of turnovers in the half court. So I don't really see Michigan turning the ball over a lot in those situations. They more so turn the ball over when the game gets going like this.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I think that especially the half court execution in the second half against Ohio State was really good at times. So
why was Michigan State so successful? First of all, Purdue was playing well early in that contest. They were up 6-7 points, and then Michigan State, they got a few turnovers. They were able to get out in transition. That gave them some momentum heading into the half, and then it was like they get in the second half of the game and it turned into a lob fest. And I'm like, what happened? Or all of a sudden it turned into they look like Florida Gulf Coast out there all of a sudden.
They were just basically running a simple horns action, right? Where you got 2 high ball screeners. The first, whatever side the point guard comes off, that guy rolls to the basket. And what they were doing, they was attacking Kaufman Wren, whatever his name is, Taylor Kaufman Wren. They were attacking him and putting him in pick and roll situations because he was really poor, right? They were really poor. He was really poor in his ball screen coverage, and their rotation was really poor on the weak side. Michigan State was able to get easy lobs at the rim. Like when you watch the film, it wasn't anything special. It was just poor coverage. I don't really see Michigan. Michigan will be able to take them out of a lot of those actions because we switch everything, right? So that'll take them out of some of those actions.
And so now here's what I wonder, Daniel, because for the entirety of the season, for the most part, they're too big action, whether it's pick and roll. Danny has been really effective of late. He as a penetrator, he was taking Ohio State to the. It was a clinic driving to the rim, and as they would overcommit later in the game, now he's driving to the rim, dropping it off to Vlad, and Vlad is hitting 10-footers on him, right? And so that too big dynamic has basically worked for the majority of the season, the exception being Purdue. Purdue nullified that. Now, question for you is Michigan State. Is that too big dynamic? Do you think it works against them? Or do you think Michigan State will effectively nullify that dynamic as well?
No, I don't think Michigan State has the personnel as far as their bigs go to nullify what Danny does, right? Kohler and I can't pronounce his last name, Kohler, and his last name starts with a Z. They're good players, right? But they don't have the foot speed or the mobility or agility to stay in front of Danny off the dribble. So I think you'll see a lot of 4 or 5 pick and roll situations this game, especially if Kohler is guarding Danny. That's a mismatch.
You know what it is, but come on, you know what it is. Dan, foot speed. What we talking about? They ain't gonna try to make it no foot speed game, Daniel. Hey man, it's gonna be all kind of bumps and elbows and knees.
But it's been the same the last 2 games against Ohio State and Purdue, right? But how Michigan has countered that, they put Danny in the middle of the floor. So you see them run the European double staggered action to Danny catching the ball high in the middle of the floor into that 4-5 pick and roll, which prevents a lot of the helping principles that Michigan State uses, which if you're not in your help positions, probably you can't be physical. You can't be as physical. So it's like now if Michigan, some of the other things we do, it's going to be bump and grind. But I think Michigan has some things that kind of nullify Michigan State's intentions to be extra physical and help as much as they do on defense. I think the positions that Dusty's offense puts you in, you can't really help like they help against other teams. You're going to give up open threes and open looks. So I'm pretty excited about this matchup, Sam. I'm a bit bullish on Michigan's prospects on winning this game. I don't think it's going to be as. I think we're going to win, but I think it's going to be I think we're going to have a pretty good performance.
You know, one of my concerns dates back to the Minnesota game where Patterson and Mitchell, man, two dudes. I know Mitchell can shoot it some, but in that game, what was alarming to me was how easily those dudes got downhill,
right,
on Michigan. And you know, with the exception of Richardson in this game, that's the only dude who I would really be concerned with stepping on his toes on the perimeter. The rest of these dudes, you know, you worried about them, you know, basically getting on their horse and getting downhill on you. Is Michigan gonna be able to wall up and keep them from getting to the rim? That's a concern for me in this game, even with them not having jump shots. Daniel, I'm curious how
those
you
are the
feel
toughest guys. Those are the toughest ones to keep from getting to the rim.
Right. So I mean, but how do you feel about that in this game?
I'm still pretty confident, right? Jaden Akins is pretty good off the dribble. He's a capable 3-point shooter, but he wants to get downhill. What's the other guy's name? Point guard, number 5. He wants to get downhill. So I watch so much film, Sam, I don't even remember their names. I just
you got Holloman over there.
Yeah, Holloman. That's what I'm thinking about. Trey Holloman. He wants to get downhill as well. So you're right, it's gonna be a challenge. But I think and the difference in this challenge versus what Michigan has seen the last couple of weeks is a lot of these. Ohio State had one guy in Bruce Thornton who was pretty good at trying to get downhill. The rest of those guys want to shoot jump shots, right? When you watch Purdue has one guy that's going to get downhill and make plays off the dribble. The rest of those guys are going to, you know, catch and shoot or attack closeout. So with Michigan State, like you said, they have 3 guys. But like I said, I like Trey Donaldson, Roddy Gale, Reuben Jones. These guys are good defenders on the perimeter, right? If they can play guard without fouling, if they can not give up easy and cheap fouls and keep Michigan State out of the bonus, and like you said, actually make them earn every basket, I like our chances.
So, you know, Michigan has been, I want to say, dating back to really the Purdue game, they have effectively mixed in their zone. It really disrupted Ohio State, right? And so that it would seem on paper to be a really effective tool against Michigan State, a terrible shooting team.
Yeah.
Right. And so do you think that'll be a weapon against Michigan State in this game?
Sure. It has to be in your arsenal, right? It has to be in your arsenal. And I don't think it's ever going to be something Michigan plays for an extended period of time. But like you see Dusty use it out of timeout situations when you know the other team is drawing up a play because you've been in man-to-man. Hey, Dusty jumps into a zone for 2, 3, 4 possessions, and it takes you out of whatever you drawn up, whatever you plans you made in your timeout to go against this man-to-man defense that you've been playing, right? So Dusty's used it as a great change of pace or a wrinkle. I don't know if it's something I really want. I would go to for an extended period of time because they're not a primary zone team, so it has to be more of a wrinkle, right? So I think, and you saw with Ohio State, once they figured out, hey, let's not dive this guy from the corner to the rim. He's diving right into the zone. They kept him spaced. They were able to get good shots against the zone. They just didn't make them. So it's not something I think Michigan wants to do for an extended period of time. But if they can mix it in and throw Michigan State off balance in certain situations, it's a great tool to have in your tool belt.
So when you get into a game with Tim Izzo, you know, Tim Izzo, he, for lack of a better term, Daniel, he tends to, I say, intimidate the refs, man. You know, he worked the refs, intimidate the refs, punk the refs. You know, he tends to get his share of calls. Now, will that be an issue in Chrysler Arena? Remains to be seen. But do you anticipate that being an issue?
No, not at
In the
all.
game tomorrow?
I've seen just from watching hey, we definitely receive a favorable whistle as a unit as a unit. Dusty's team has definitely been receiving a favorable whistle throughout the course of this season. So I don't see that really changing this weekend. I don't see Izzo's going to do what he do on the sideline. Most coaches of his caliber get a long leash with the officials and what you can and can't do in your behavior on the sideline. So that's not going to change. He's earned that. But as far as the referees affecting the game, I don't really think so. I think it's going to be they're going to be allowed to play. There's going to be allowed to be physical because of who it is and the circumstances. And I think hopefully the refs are going to let the players decide. Although I will add this caveat, and I've said this for 20 years now, the Big Ten has the the worst officials in college basketball and maybe all of sports. So, but that's a different conversation. But I don't think it'll be and I don't think it'll have an effect on this on Friday's game.
Yeah, how ready do you think? You know, I feel like as a team, what they saw against Purdue, it helps prepare you for this. But more specifically, Vlad, man, I think his experience with Trey Kaufman-Renn, who I want to continue to give that man his credit. I want to continue to admit that I missed the memo on him. Because I know you said he was lax in his ball screen covers against Michigan State, but they had their work cut out for him trying to slow him down because he still got his work in on the offensive end.
Oh, for sure,
because he continues to put in work on that end of the floor. I still haven't seen him stop this.
But that's what you have to do against guys like that. If they're going to be so good offensively and affect the game so much offensively, you have to turn around and go at them on the other end as well.
Hell yeah, man! That was the point. That was the point that was getting at in the first Michigan game down there at Purdue didn't happen, and then for like the first half at the in the game here in Ann Arbor, to the point where Dusty, the normal, even keeled Dusty, Dusty was like, "Hey, gosh darn it!" Except he didn't say "gosh darn it." He was even Dusty was like, "What the hell is going on, Vlad? Wake the hell up! Yeah, we got to do something, man." And
sometimes adjustments ain't always X and O wise, right? Hey, let me go put my foot, break my foot off in this guy real quick and light a fire under him.
Yeah, and it worked.
Yeah.
And so this is a particularly pointed challenge at Vlad because Danny's gonna be inside and Danny's gonna be he's gonna be in the paint and he's gonna be on the perimeter, right?
Yeah.
Vlad's home is in that paint. Hey man, this is gonna be a very specific and pointed challenge for Vlad. So what do you think? You think that Purdue game or those Purdue games, you think he gonna start this game like he finished that Purdue game?
I think he learned a very valuable lesson about the physicality that comes with playing in this conference, right? I think both of those guys did the first Purdue game, Danny and Vlad. And I think the second game kind of reinforced it. So it's now you play Ohio State after that. And like I told you before, the physicality is only going to ratchet up with their schedule. Like Michigan State is going to be more physical than the last two games. Illinois is going to be an extremely physical game, right? So it's like you have to embrace that part of the challenge when you playing in the Big Ten. Like not only you have to be skilled, you have to be graceful, but you also have to embrace the physical part of it. And I think these last couple of games, you've seen Vlad embrace the physical part of the game. Like the more you see mad Vlad, the better off he's gonna be, right? He's finishing at the rim, whether like forcefully, right? Not just landing. He missed one layup at the end of the game, but all other times around, he's dunking the ball or finishing strong in and ones. He's rebounding a little bit better. I think he had 10 rebounds on the road last game, which is out of the norm, out of the norm for him as far as getting double-digit rebounds on the road. So I think he's embraced that. And I think with him and Danny embracing the physical elements of the game in this conference, it's helped put them in the position to win this conference. And I think they will eventually win it.
Yeah, I do too, man. I look at Michigan State. I think their ceiling, if they were to have some type of sort of any kind of championship success, which I don't expect them to have, it would be the conference. They just don't shoot it well enough, man. They are a flawed team.
Yeah.
In order to go on any kind of run, you got to be able to shoot the basketball, and they can't shoot. they cannot shoot. Now I give them credit. I give Tim Izzo credit. He knows his team can't shoot, so he tells them, "Hey, y'all don't shoot." Like you look at their shooting numbers, like they'll be 4 for 12 from 3, 4 for 13, 3 for 10, that kind of thing. That's their stat line.
But you see, that's still not a team you want to just give them open looks either, though.
Yeah. But I guess my point is compare them to a team like Illinois, who very similar as far as you look at like their rebounding number, like long team, they're gonna hit the glass, but they can't shoot either.
Nope.
But they shoot a ton of freaking threes. Like what the hell?
Honest.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
It keeps you honest, Sam. It keeps you honest, and that's sort of the game. That's sort of the game now, right? If you don't have, you got to try to create extra possessions, and you got to try to speed the pace up, and you want to shoot more threes. That's what pretty much everybody's doing. Now, Michigan, if Michigan didn't have 2 7-footers, we'd be playing the same way. So
wait.
Guys leave,
you be shooting a lot of threes, even though you can't hit them.
Trust me. Once these 7-footers leave, I'm just looking at our break principles, the way we run, and the way it's structured. Once Dusty gets the right guys, now I don't know if he'll always have 2 7-footers. If he does, that'll be awesome. But if he doesn't, you'll see Michigan getting up more threes than they get up now as well.
Man, I don't get that. You want to shoot threes, go recruit some 3-point shooters. Otherwise, do what Tim Izzo is doing. Izzo said, listen, fellas, we gonna muddy this up. We're going to muddy this up. We're going to play physical. We're going to rebound this basketball. We're going to play some defense. We ain't going to shoot some. We ain't going to shoot shots we can't make.
That's a decision you make as your team evolves, right? Like these guys, Izzo's had these guys, so he knows what their makeup is, so he can kind of play to their strengths, right? But like you said, he needs to recruit guys that can shoot better as well if they want to get over the hump that they haven't been able to get over. But in Michigan's case, like I said, could make them shoot contested threes, but let them shoot as many as they want. Just keep them out the paint. Keep Jace Richardson out of the mid range and keep them other 2 guys out of the paint, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a hell of a game. Cannot wait to see how it plays out. Hopefully Michigan. Speaking of 3-point shooting, you want to see. Hopefully Trey is on his game. Trey is on his mark. That would be, Michigan has had some guys. You think about it, you have some guys who have shot it better than they're shooting it now.
Mm-hmm.
And you just feel like there's still a level that they can reach that's realistic. You see what I'm saying? Like I
see Michigan hit 19 threes in the game this year, right? So we know what their ceiling is 3-point shooting wise. We just need them to get closer to that. Now you're not going to hit 19 again. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
If they can shoot the ball like that, Sam, if they can make 12 to 15 threes per game moving forward, they might make a serious run, because they're already really efficient in what they do as far as using those 2 big guys. But they can start making 10 plus threes, 12 to 15 threes per game, man. They're probably gonna make a Final Four run.
Yeah, I can't see that with Michigan State. Got a Sparty in here talking about I'm here more crying by. What are you talking about? Crying about
actually trying to give the Stone Chucker some respect.
Yeah, crying about what? Crying about what? I mean, last I checked, got a football team that won a national championship a couple years ago. Football team that just beat Ohio State again. Won a bowl game. Don't know what your football team did. Basketball team just is at the top of the Big Ten. I just don't have that much to cry about. You on the other hand, I'm just saying.
I'm actually trying to give these young bricklayers some respect that they got a good team and got a chance to come in here. But man, you making it hard, Randy. You making it hard, brother.
I'm curious. You hanging out here, checking on us. Like, man, I'm trying to figure y'all out. Now, it shall be interesting to see what y'all muster if Izzo misses in March again. They say this thing, it's the month of March. It's the month of misses. It used to be the month of Izzo back in the day. But lately, what is Izzo getting done in March? I'm just curious why y'all still think he making it happen in March. Since when is Izzo making it happen in March? What players is Izzo developing these days? I just wonder. Is Booker gonna hang around? Hey, Booker, while he's around, Xavier Booker, you want to tour? He should tour. He should tour the Chrysler Center. Bigs that actually get a chance to, develop. Like, check out what Danny Wolf is doing. Just check it out. You want to come and see what how bigs can have some diverse usage. Come hang out a little bit. See what life is like. Michigan is looking, since Danny is coming in for a year, blossoms, going to the NBA. That could be you. Or you can stay and, be a 5-star and get turned into a 2-star. I'm just saying. I'm just observing.
Are they gonna get the younger Richardson? I heard he's looking at Michigan.
He is. I mean, but see, with the way that Jason's playing now, that probably is a positive. I imagine. That's hard, man. It's hard to change allegiances.
Facts.
If I'm Dusty, you got to run the race.
Yeah.
Because Sparties of late, they've been looking Michigan's way. Look at the football side of things. I didn't think Michigan had a chance in hell of getting Caden Strayhorn. His daddy is the color commentator for the Spartan Football Radio Network, and his son is going to the University of Michigan. So it's happening on the football side of things. Now,
hey, so let me tell you something, man. If DJ Horton is good enough to play for Michigan and Michigan State, and he chooses Michigan State, he will sleep in the garage until his freshman year starts. He will be sleeping in the garage until he's moving to his dorm.
Yeah, man. So this is a tough scenario. What if both are options? Ain't no damn way. Now, if your only option, if your only scholarship is Michigan State, would you let him go?
Hey, we going JUCO. We going JUCO, Sam. We going JUCO. We gotta have better options than that.
Hey, man. Can't happen. Hey, Chris Wilson said, I know that's right. Hey. He said, can't happen. Can't happen. He said, nah. Steve Horton said, gotta go overseas. We gotta figure something else out.
Nah, buddy.
We gotta figure something else out. Listen, folks, before I ask Daniel another basketball question, because been pondering the best newcomer. I thought it was cut and dry. And I know Daniel, he talked about this dude earlier in the season, like he was, I won't say he said he was a bum, but he was like, oh, this dude ain't. It's like, I don't know if he gonna make it in the Big Ten. I don't know if he really that good. This dude is, He not really cut out. He not about that Big Ten life. He looking like he about that Big Ten life now. Daniel,
so to prove it.
He proving it now. I think you know who I'm talking about. I'll come back around to him in a second. But before we do, listen, another one of our proud sponsors just came off a great event last weekend at the Chrysler Center. Michigan State wheelchair basketball. A great event that was brought to you in part by our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, one of our proud sponsors here at Steady Droppin Dimes. And we have been telling you that as much as the Washtenaw County area and Ann Arbor, of course, is about University of Michigan sports. And of course, Eastern Michigan sports, a proud athletics program over there in Ypsilanti. So many more sporting events come to this area. And the Ann Arbor Sports Commission doing its part to make sure that awareness is raised and to make sure that many more sporting events are brought to this area and that you have an opportunity to attend, to experience, and to maybe even bring some of those sporting events to this area yourself. I know my friend Daniel Horton, he's endeavoring to bring one of a basketball event to this area. Been talking about trying to do that in the not too distant future. So, we're going to see if we can help make that happen somewhere down the line. Mm-hmm. We hope, right? Well, you might be able to do the same, but between rowing and golf and track and field events and so many great events coming to the Washtenaw County area through the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. Megan Hughes and her team do a great job when it comes to event planning, helping with accommodations, and all of the different aspects of bringing events to Washtenaw County. You can always find out about those events by going to their website and finding out about all of the services that they offer and provide over at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission by checking them out. And when you do, and you find out about not only the events that are here now, like we saw last week over at the Chrysler Center, but the ones that are coming up in the coming months, because once we hit the spring and the summer, it really hits full tilt. When you talk about the parks and recreation, all the things that are going to be going on throughout Washtenaw County, not just on the campuses, but throughout all the great parks and recreation centers throughout the greater Washtenaw County area. So again, if you go over to their website, annarbor.org/sports commission, you can always find out about all the great offerings. And again, the team at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission offers an array of services that can, whether you're looking to bring an event or attend an event, that can help you along the way. So everything from event operations to volunteer outreach to venue recommendations, hotel coordination, PR and marketing support, on-site assistance, visitor information, all of those aspects of event planning and attendance you can find with our friends at the Ann Arbor Sports Commission. Again, for more information and details, annarbor.org/sports commission. We're going to be having Megan Hughes on, the director of the Ann Arbor Sports Commission, on more throughout the remainder of the season here on Steady Droppin Dimes, telling you about more events that'll be coming to town. Hopefully we'll be telling you about Daniel bringing an AAU event to town here in the coming weeks as well. So be on the lookout for that. So Daniel, favorites for Big Ten Player of the Year. I actually think they should have a Big Ten Newcomer of the Year award because it will allow you to maybe if you guys who maybe don't win Big Ten Player of the Year, it allows you to maybe also give some attention to a guy who might be a newcomer of the year but doesn't get the player of the year award.
Yeah, especially when you have all these transfers coming
Exactly.
in every year for every team. It only makes sense.
Because we pay a lot of attention to Danny Wolf around here. He has been, or Vlad for that matter. I mean, you got two
I'm about
dudes.
to say Vlad is the front runner right now.
You think Vlad is the front runner for player of the year?
Yes.
You think Vlad? So Tim and I had this debate. I picked Vlad. Tim picked Danny.
Most big guys like the big guy that can dribble because they couldn't dribble. So.
he said he's averaging a double. He's leading the Big Ten in rebounds. I looked at Vlad's the way that he has his scoring has been up. He's he obviously is not as high in the rebounding column as Danny, but he's respectable in that column. But he's just been so much of a presence, so much of a consistent presence in the scoring column throughout the Big Ten season.
Yeah, at one point he was averaging 26 a game through like the first 3, 4, 5 games in the league season. So
the consistency as a scorer is what has me giving Vlad a little bit of the edge over Danny, right? But
he's performed well in the biggest games and the biggest moments that they've had so far. The Ohio State game. Did he miss a shot? I think he might have missed 2 or 3. He missed a couple shots, but he had a double-double that game. He had a huge 30-point game early this year. He followed that up with a couple. So you haven't seen I think he had a couple rough games when he was going through the illness or whatever, but
he did.
Other than that, you haven't seen the extreme drop, between highs and lows in his performance during conference.
The one non-illness game that he had that was rough, but he finished strong was that Purdue game. Here, he finished that game strong though.
Mm-hmm.
But man, can you really give either of them the edge right now over Tanjay?
Whoever wins the league. So Wisconsin, who I wrote off a couple weeks ago, I thought they would lose the Purdue game, which would kind of, but with their favorable schedule, I think Vegas might have them as the odds-on favorite to win the league with their. I don't say. First of all, let me say this: how do you go through a Big Ten conference season and the top 4 team, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, and Ohio State, not a top 4 team, but they're a decent team. You only play them once each throughout the whole. So how does that happen? Right? Because I understand how it happens technically with the new teams in the league, but that's a bit crazy. But to answer your question, I think whoever wins the league out of Michigan and Wisconsin, their best player will win player of the year in the league.
Listen, man, John Tanjay, when we talk about how much of a surprise Danny Wolf is, and Danny Wolf's performance has been shocking. Like what Vlad is doing, people expected Vlad to be this, right? Like he's living up to expectations. Not to minimize what Vlad is doing, but he's doing what you expected him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Danny has been a revelation.
Yeah.
His ability to, score and put it on the deck, make plays for others. Even more surprising, what an outstanding rebounder he's been.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody expected him to be able to do that. He might be surprising his damn self how much of a rebounder he's been.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But Daniel, John Tanjay, what he's doing right now in Big Ten play, you can't convince me that anybody saw this coming.
Well, where was he at last year? He was somewhere.
He was at Mizzou.
Missouri, that's right. That's at Missouri. Yes.
He was at Mizzou
most of the year hurt.
Man. Yeah. So I remember at the beginning of the season looking up and watching. So I was watching Kansas and, watching for Hunter. And I'm looking up and I see AJ Storr. I like, AJ Storr transferred to Kansas? Like, man, because you remember he was balling out for Wisconsin last year. It was like, man, that's a huge loss. Wisconsin's going to go down. Man, this dude has come in and outperformed AJ Store. You cannot convince me that they saw that coming. He has outperformed AJ Store in every statistical category: scoring, 3-point shooting, rebounding, every category. He has balled out by a significant margin. Nobody in Madison could have seen that coming.
No, I imagine their coaches did like Dusty then when they first saw Danny, how effective he was. Like, hey man, we got something right here. You know what I mean? They probably looked at each other like, okay, we got one.
He didn't perform anywhere close to this at Colorado State. So what he's doing on his last 2 games, he put up two 30-point games in a row. He hit Purdue for like 32. So, hey man, I gotta give him the nod as the favorite right now. With the way that dude is going,
they gotta win it.
I hate to say it.
They gotta win it because Vlad had wasn't that the game that was a Wisconsin game on the road? Vlad had 30. Was that the game he had 31 against Wisconsin? I gotta look that up.
Was that the game he had 30? It might have been. It might have been.
And Tanjay played awful.
This dude got back-to-back 30-point games, though, Daniel.
Yeah, true.
Then he had a 22-point game.
No, Vlad had 24 that game. Vlad had 24 that game.
This dude he on a roll. Like, where is this coming from? Like, this. I know he is a 6-year player, but it's like, man.
And that's part of it, Sammy. I mean, even with Danny's 20, about to be 20, 21, something like that. Vlad is a little bit older. I mean, that's the game now. Most of these guys having success have been in college basketball for a couple years now. They got some games under their belt, whether it's at this current school or previous school. That's why Rick Pitino said that he's losing 3 of his top players this year. He said he's not recruiting any high school kids. He said we cannot replace those 3 guys with high school kids. So all these coaches are looking for guys that have some.
John Tanjay's last 5 games. So he had 31 in a win against Illinois, 32 in a win against Purdue, 22 in a win against Iowa, 15 in a win against Indiana, and 27 in a win against Northwestern. Like, this dude is on a tear.
Yeah, he's been hooping.
This dude is on a tear. 23, 27, 24. He's like,
he can score.
Where is this dude coming from?
He can score. I think the fact that the team has played their way back into the championship race is helping him, right? Because he was averaging those numbers when they were kind of forgotten about early, and after they lost us, he was matter of fact, he was averaging 20 a game when they played us early in this. So he's been scoring.
Well, he was in the teens. He was very much in the teens before that, consistently. And then, once they hit like mid-January, some kind of switch flipped on this dude, where he's just been a different
light at the end of the tunnel. Career's coming to an end, Sam. When you get to them last 10, 12 games, your senior year, or whatever your last year is going to be, there's a totally different focus. And your game, if you're a good player, your game kind of goes to another level. So that's what you're seeing right now. That's what I know Michigan is hoping to get. And then that's what they've been getting out of some of these guys on the roster these last couple of weeks as well.
Well, their toughest game down the stretch is that game at East Lansing. They have a pretty favorable schedule. Wisconsin does. Of all the contending teams, Wisconsin by far, to me, has the most favorable schedule down the stretch. Michigan State has the toughest.
Yeah.
Between the fact that they can't shoot and the schedule they have, I think they're the team that I'm like, they are not going to win it.
Yeah, we played Sparty twice, Maryland, and Illinois. So our finish is pretty tough as well. Although I think we have most of those games at home.
Yeah,
so that's the positive.
Yeah, it's Michigan State. On the other hand, like if you look at how they finish, I think, as I said, I'm gonna pull theirs up right now. I think Michigan State's is exceptionally tough here coming up. And so Sparty, as I lay it out for you guys, their gauntlet stretch with their 9 shooting behinds. They got to go to Michigan tomorrow, of course, then to Maryland.
Yeah.
And they host Wisconsin, then at Iowa, and then they host Michigan.
Yeah, that's a tough finish. Yeah, it's tough. That's tough.
So I think that's the toughest.
That's why I think Vegas has Wisconsin the odds-on favorite, just because of their easy finish to the season. How does that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they got touched by an angel as far as that's concerned. And just to lay it out again, they host Oregon, they host Washington, at Michigan State, then at Minnesota, and then they finish.
You know what I just got you to do?
Hosting Penn State.
You know what I just got you to do?
What's that?
Agree with Mick Cronin.
Yeah, Mick Cronin always got something to complain about. Mick Cronin always got something to complain about. Hey, Mick Cronin needs to worry about losing at home to Minnesota. You lost at home to Minnesota, Mick. You can't lose at home, Mick, and cry.
He said it was only 30 people at the game.
That's on you, Mick. You can't lose at home under no circumstance, Mick. To Minnesota. Come on. Losing at home to Michigan is one thing.
I can think of a million things to do in LA instead of go to a Minnesota UCLA basketball game.
Come on, Mick. You can't lose at home to Minnesota, Mick. Minnesota went out there and beat both Cali teams.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah, Minnesota is like they're another team that's like so the extremes between how well they played and how bad they played. It's just such a big gap between those two levels. It's like, man, I don't know.
You got Ben Johnson trying to hold on to his job. I don't know if it's enough.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they've said anything about that, but you remember heading into that Michigan game, they're like he's about to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
And then he won that game. And I don't know, I don't follow Minnesota basketball enough to know if that called off the dogs, but
I know they won that game and they won like the next 3 after that. They won like 4 or 5 games in a row. They lost a couple, and now they're on another little win streak again. So
yeah, man.
You never know, man.
They went out to Cali, won some games. You know, can they do a little something here down the stretch to save his job?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting. But they took care of business with Mick. So
yeah,
you know, can he
we gonna talk about this Dusty situation? Have you been instructed not to talk about the Dusty situation?
What Dusty situation? Here's what I know. I know that Ward is he's like, hey, this is what I suspect is the case.
Yeah.
He went out and signed the guy that he had vetted. He had been vetting in the background he had been following for years.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always gotta, when the Lakers had sort of was messing with Juwan, it was like, all right, I gotta make sure I got my other guy in the background.
Yep.
And Dusty was that guy. So when it was clear he had to move on from Juwan, he was already ready with Dusty as his number one candidate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that vetting process was already down the aisle.
Yep.
He was working in with Coach Ramsey, right? You know, that was, he already had Coach Ramsey talking to him.
Yep.
You know, and it was good to go. You know, he was talking to him. By the time he gets ready to get on the horn with him to go down to Florida to talk to him, Coach B called and said, "You want me to come?" Coach B said, "Yeah, you can come." And Coach B has a conversation with him down there. And Dusty said, I was pretty well had my mind made up. He said, Coach B gave me a couple words that confirmed some things for me.
Mm-hmm.
And help me make my mind up even more. And I'm in the fold. And so now the guy that you basically had, as your number one guy all along is even better than you thought, you mean to tell me, Daniel Horton, you mean to tell me that you just gonna let that guy walk?
Do you? I agree with everything you're saying.
Here's what
I agree with everything you saying.
Guarantee you. What I can guarantee you,
Michigan's will do the best
without seeing anything. I don't have any knowledge of anything, of any documents anywhere.
Well, first of all, we know you insider trading, but keep going.
I'm just saying, I can guarantee you that some things are in the works. I can guarantee you some things are in the works because the man has outperformed being the number one guy on the market. He's come in and he's been the number one coach in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So now you gotta so now let's come and we gotta make some adjustments.
Yeah.
We gotta so that's being worked on. That don't mean that you got some other people ain't showing interest. I'm just saying ain't nobody sitting on their hands.
Yeah. And that's all Michigan can do, right? And that's all Michigan can do, right? Is put their best foot forward in regards to retaining him, right? But I just think, like, I preface this by saying I want him to stay. He's done a great job. He's definitely exceeded my expectations. The team has exceeded my expectations. I believe they're going to eventually win the Big Ten championship this year in his first year. But hey, man, I just know if I was coaching somewhere and my alma mater came calling, and my mom is in the arena every other night, right? And they're going to throw all the resources and money at me. And I was a manager in the programs. It's man, as a Michigan guy, I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried, but I'm hopeful and I'm optimistic after what you just said and knowing Ward, right? Personally, I think he's going to do everything he can to keep Dusty around. I hope he stays.
Yeah. All you can do is, like you said, put your best foot forward and realize that when you mix home with business, it has a way of fraying some of the lines and some of the relationships that you value, some of the and unnecessarily so. When you can keep those things separate, you're experiencing great success professionally at the University of Michigan. You're at the height of the profession. You can achieve all the things that you want to achieve as a basketball coach and still be a hop, skip, and a jump from home. You have your cake and eat it too. And you look at the opportunity to have things go very, very wrong at home. The opportunity for that is exceedingly high, given how many guys have had that thing go wrong since Bob Knight was there. It's been every guy. And they've thrown a lot of money at it. They've thrown a lot of money and resources at it before you.
Yeah.
It hasn't been for a lack of resources.
But those guys I don't think those guys have shown, even though Mike Wilson was he had some success at the NBA level with the couple seasons with the Knicks. I don't think those guys have had the track record that Dusty's had coming into this situation, especially if he wins the Big Ten this year. Now he'll have the FAU track record and the 1 year Big Ten. So he knows his formula works.
That's true. But, circumstances sometimes are outside of your control.
Yeah.
It can very easily go wrong.
Yeah.
And the minute that it doesn't, very easily those friends, not your family, but those friends, and you got a lot of them, in Bloomington. You go home and all those friends are glad to see you.
Yeah.
Very easily, like very quickly, a lot of those friends can become enemies, and unnecessarily so. Why even risk it when all those friends can stay friends right now with you coaching at the University of Michigan?
Yeah.
Why even risk it when you can go get paid at the height of the profession? You can achieve all the professional success you want, and all those friends and family can be right there with no issue. And you don't have to worry about being in that fishbowl that you don't want to be in. You don't want to have to worry about that.
But he's from that fishbowl though.
That life or death scrutiny that you didn't want with Louisville. You don't have to worry about none of that. You can avoid all that. You probably gonna get, get more of the resources that you were clamoring for, based upon the success that you have immediately out the gate.
Because every game he wins the talk is gonna get louder. Like the season goes on.
I understand.
Every game they win, especially when they have some of the performance they've been having, man. I know I get calls and man, y'all gonna be able to keep Dusty. I'm like, man, I hope so.
I understand.
I
understand. I'm not saying that they won't show interest, that they won't continue to prod, they won't continue to make a case.
Yeah.
And do the calling that you saying and tug at the heartstrings. I'm just saying the juice ain't worth the squeeze. Yeah. And that case is going to continue to be made. Why even risk it? This is not the gym scenario. They're going to try to make it the gym scenario. You know the difference? See, the difference, Daniel, is Jim was kicked out the door in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Dusty's not being kicked out the door in Ann Arbor. Dusty's being embraced warmly. He's being caressed. He's being warmly hugged, and I mean, there's no there's no shove. There's no being escorted out of town. There's nothing but appreciation for the great job that he's done. Appreciation and compensation.
They need to give him the DG treatment. Start throwing rose petals at his feet.
Hey, all of that.
And I'll just play. That's only reserved for DG.
Yeah, appreciation, compensation, recognition. That's all coming. Yeah. So, the only thing that you will see with Indiana is home. But again, you go home in a situation like this where they've been starved for success, and there has been immense disappointment, and they're expecting immediate success. There is no grace period based on his track record for quick turnarounds and the amount of resources they're going to throw at it. And the minute that you don't have that kind of success, they're going to be like, what's going on? Where is it? And you aren't having it. The questions answered, and you don't turn it around quickly in year one and year two. What's going on? And those friends that you have, questions that they're going to start asking. Yeah, you're going to have some loyalists, but it's not going to be universal. You're going to have some people that start pecking away. Why even risk that?
Yep. Nah,
why even deal with it?
I'm with you 100%, Sam.
Keep your friends your friends. Keep your friends and family over here and keep your business over there. Keep them separate, brother. If you can.
If you can.
And you can. Like, why even mix the two when you don't have to?
Okay. I just wanted to get your opinion on it, see what you thought. I had to get some insider trading info. I feel better about it.
I told John Beeline, not directly. It is funny. When the Pistons came after John Beeline, I was on the radio and I said, it's a train wreck. Why would you take that job? It is a train wreck. It's going to end your coaching career early. It makes no sense to even consider this job. You're going to be out of coaching in a year. If you go from coaching the University of Michigan coaching the Detroit Pistons. And so John Beeline's like, yeah, I heard you on the radio talking about it's a train wreck. You was all talking about the Pistons this, the Pistons that, train wreck this, and train wreck that. I was like, did I lie? I wasn't lying. It was a train wreck, right? So, so he's like, I heard you talking about that. My wife was listening. You talking about it's a train wreck. So what happens? He takes the Cleveland Cavaliers job. It was a train wreck, Daniel Horton. And wasn't he out of coaching in a year?
Yep.
Did I lie? I didn't lie, did I? Come on, man.
No.
I didn't say I was a coach. I've never coached a day of my life, but I've seen some things.
Yeah, that was definitely
Now that was more about the Cleveland Cavaliers being a train.
Yeah, definitely not about Coach Beeline. That's definitely more about
It was not about Coach Beeline. It was
not
more about
all.
them being out of whack. So Dusty, not that I have to talk to Dusty about it, but like, hey, bro, just telling you, don't go inviting an issue where there isn't one, brother. You can have your cake and eat it too.
I could say some things about IU, but I'm not in the business of saying positive things about other Big Ten schools. So, yeah, man, it's a train wreck over there.
Man, yeah, they got a lot of money. They got a lot of money.
Money, basketball, tradition, history, all of that.
They got all that. It don't
a train wreck right now.
It don't fix it. It clearly does not fix it. Gotta have more than that, man. Gotta have more than that. So,
yes, sir.
At any rate, I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you all enjoy the game tomorrow. I know I will, because I expect a W. It's always good to see Izzo.
See, I got my shirt on. I got my warm-up shirt on from the Michigan State game.
You know, it's always funny. It's always funny. I didn't know tell you the story. So it was 2000. What year was it? What year was it when they got Petey? What year was it when?
That had to be like 07, because that was after I graduated, because Petey was right after me.
Petey was right after.
07, 08, somewhere around there.
Yeah, man. So I covered Petey from start to finish. And so we're in with this. So covered Petey start to finish. And Izzo's supposed to get everybody from Michigan. He's supposed to get, I mean, it's just how it's supposed to go.
That's
right?
What they say.
Cause he just Izzo. So you don't get him, it's a problem, right? Because he owned the state. So so the story goes, when he don't get him, there used to be one of the assistants over at Pershing, my man Coop. I don't know if you remember Coop. Used to be around all the time. He was Petey's guy.
Yeah, I remember him.
And so Coop called me. He was like, man, Sam, man, Izzo was hot. He gave it to me. He was like, man, you know, if I didn't really have a chance, you should have told me. You like basically just giving it to him. I don't know. He didn't tell me everything he said, but he let him have it. I'm probably you had some words for Petey too. Right? Petey tell you a story to this day, probably, if you talk to him. So I wound up going on the radio as a guest that day. Now, I didn't tell that part of the story, but I guess it might have either been Coop or Petey. They might have told some other people the story as well, but I wound up being a guest on the radio talking about it. And Dennis Fithian was hosting the show that day, and they said, hey, so I heard some rumors that Izzo was upset about this. And I said, well, I don't know about that. I don't know anything about that part of the story. I will remark on one of the coaches I heard reacted graciously to it, though, Rob Murphy. So I shout out Murph. Yeah, I shout out Murph. I said I heard Murph reacted graciously, so I want to shout out Murph. So I didn't even say Izzo's name in the interview, right? So I guess you might be able to say by not answering the question, did I imply that Izzo didn't react graciously. I guess you could say that, but I didn't even say the man's name. Just shout out Murphy.
You engaged in insider trading again.
Right. But had it been me today, I might have lit Izzo up. Had it been me today, but back then, I shied away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple days passed. I guess that night on Sports Final Edition, I guess so Rob Parker was on Sports Final Edition. I guess he must have heard the same story and must have said something about Izzo. Reacting like Izzo reacted, which he did, he actually did, right? So, man, I actually went off on a cruise. So, man, I come back from the cruise and I'm checking my messages. And man, I got a bunch of messages from a 517 number. And the first message is, "This is Tim Izzo. I heard you were talking about me, and I would appreciate it if you give me a call back. We need to talk." Right? I can't remember, all the things he says. I'm like, my eyes big. I'm like, I can't believe this dude. First, I'm wondering how he got my number.
Yeah.
And then it's like, so, and it's like 4 more messages after that. By the last message, it's like, "I'm a Big Ten coach. Yeah, I don't appreciate you not returning my call. And if you don't return my call, I'm going to go over your head." I'm like, so I'm irate that he thinks I'm ducking it.
Yeah.
And then he punking me on top of it. Right?
Yeah.
The indignity, he a Big Ten coach and he's punking me on the phone. Like, I guess this is just what he does to the media. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. And so then the next message is from like Tom Wyrot. Right? No, the next message is from the next message, I think, from Michigan State's SID. Then it's from Tom Wyrot.
Yeah. And
I'm like, Tom, did you give them my number? Tom Wyrot done gave them my number.
Oh, T-Dub, you can't do that.
and Tom's like, he's like, I didn't know what they wanted your number for. I was like, so I find, man, I can't wait to get back off the ship. So I can call Tom Izzo, because, man, at this point, I'm like, so I guess we just gonna talk regular. We ain't gonna talk professionally.
Yeah.
Cause this must be how it go. Cause I'm inexperienced. I ain't even by this. I'm working for somebody. I don't even own the site at that time. I don't even have a radio show yet.
Yeah.
Right. Get on the phone with the dude. Man, he go right in. Like, you don't know how this go. How would you like it if I was on talking about you and how you do your job? And I said, man, I didn't say anything about you and how you do your job. And you were talking about, I said this and I said that. No, I didn't say your name. I could have said XYZ. I could have said you did this or that. I could have said, so I was letting him know I knew exactly
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't. Like, we could have some professional courtesy here. That's what I was extending you, but you decided to do it a different way. He said, and so then he's still not acknowledging that I didn't say your name. So he's going in and like, but you decided you're gonna go out and talk about me in this way and say these things about me, and that's just horse shit. Like, I was like, so I was like, well, if it really was gonna be, if it really was gonna be some horse shit, then I guess I could just really go out there and talk about how you really acted, how you really was telling this kid how he should be acting about I guess he was just supposed to go to Michigan State. I guess he was just supposed to kiss the ring. I guess he was just supposed to go to play for Tim Izzo because he's supposed to play for the green and white. He ain't supposed to go to Michigan because everybody goes to Michigan State because you're the only guy that can coach in this. I was like, man, this is how this conversation was going for like back and forth for about 5-10 minutes. And then the next time I saw the dude in the well, I think it was at Chrysler the next year. We're walking out of the press room.
Two short dudes arguing with each other.
I wasn't even having no argument. I wasn't even having no argument, Daniel. Like I'm like, dude, you should at least know what I said. If you go call me to check me, like listen to an interview instead of listening to somebody saying. Like if you listen to the interview, you would hear that I never said your name. Like maybe Rob Parker said your name, which I guess he did. But if you had listened to me, you would know I never said your name. Never came. Tim Izzo's name never came out of my mouth. Not one time. Not one time had I said his name on that occasion. Now, since then, Daniel, I said his name a million times. Like when he lost Trey McKinney. Oh yeah, he was hot. He was hot. He acted a fool losing Trey McKinney. He had problems. Like this few months ago. He had problems not making the final list with Trey McKinney. Flint dude. He got problems. He got problems. How did Tim Izzo, a dude who was, he made his bones on getting guys from Flint, not even make the cut for a Flint kid? He didn't even make the cut. He didn't even make the final list.
The proof is in the results for all the 5-star guys that they went there over the years and what happened with their careers. So you can, if I'm Trey McKinney, I'm not considering them either.
Hey man, but like I said, anybody that is good, especially for Flint, you're supposed to be considering Tim Izzo. That's how he looked at it.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you a story before we go. Right, so when I committed to Michigan, right, I knew nothing about Michigan State rivalry for real, right? I had seen it on TV. Like I said before, when they asked me when I was a freshman before we played Michigan State, I was used to Texas OU, Texas. Just being a high school kid in Texas, I was familiar with all the Southern rivalries, right? So I get on the elevator at the McDonald's game, right? I get on the elevator. Paul Davis, his dad, and his brother all get on the elevator as well, right? So we're on the elevator going to our rooms, and his brother looks over at me and my dad. You know, me and my dad, I'm not saying nothing to them. They're not saying nothing to us. We just mind it. And his brother out of the blue goes, "Hey, aren't you that guy going to Michigan next year?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah." He said, "Good luck losing to Michigan State for 4 years." Something he said. I was like, and so, and I'm not gonna curse right on the show, but I looked at him. I said, "Hey man, we gonna beat y'all next year." Like on the elevator, I looked his brother in his face, and my dad was like, "He's like, I'll never see you that determined before." I was like, "Yeah, man, we gonna beat y'all next year." And so that first game, my freshman year, we beat them, stormed the court at Chrysler, all that type of stuff. So it was a big time experience. But I just remember that elevator ride made me hate them before I even knew what the rivalry was about for real.
No, I can't remember what I hung up on him about. I can't remember the last thing I said before I hung up. It was something disrespectful. It was a long time ago. It was something disrespectful because the next time I saw him, he was walking in the press room, and I was walking from putting my microphone up up at the podium, and the dude bumped me.
Hold on,
And I was
Sam.
walking
You
by.
from Flint and you let him
I
bump
was
you?
like, "Oh, come on, man."
You let him bump you and you from Flint? Oh yeah, you must have been tired that day.
I
You let
thought
him.
it was
Hey
funny as
Sam, bump me again, little Coach Izzo. Watch what happens.
Oh man, that was 20 years ago now. Might be, what is it? That had to be what, 08, 07, 08. So
And I hate to say,
it's
I don't want to say I hate to say this, but he's actually a cool dude. Like I've had interactions with Coach Izzo outside of the.
I just think it's you know what?
He
It's
actually
just
all right dude.
it's Michigan. I just take it as that's Michigan. That's how much he feels Michigan State.
Yep.
That's how much he feels Michigan State.
He
Hey
bumped
man,
him.
it's serious. It's serious enough for him to call a Michigan reporter. Like, that's how deep it is for him. Like,
Yeah, he saw there he is. He gave you a little chicken wing. Come on, Sam. You can't let that go down, man. You owe. Hey, I don't care if it was 20 years later. You owe him still.
so anyway, they got to beat that ass tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
they got to get it. It ain't never over. It ain't
never over.
So Dusty, that's why it's real. I remember I was at the Operation Friendship game, and I was sitting behind. It was Beeline's first year. We were down in Callahan Hall, and Beeline was sitting with Izzo in front of me. And Izzo went to and they sitting there, they laughing, and Izzo he left. He went to, man, I told Beeline, I said, man, that dude ain't your friend. What you sitting up here laughing with that? Sitting up here laughing with that. That dude ain't your friend.
No,
He
sir.
only laughing with you because he think he gonna beat you down. Hey, it ain't none of your friend. Wait till you beat him. Wait till you beat him and see if he's still laughing with you. It ain't gonna be funny no more once you start beating his ass.
Yep.
They ain't gonna laugh at you no more.
Y'all
It
can
ain't
see
gonna
each
be
other at
funny
recruiting events and go walk right past each other.
It ain't gonna be chuckles no more anymore. So you wait and see. So again, welcome, Dusty.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Ann Arbor, my
He
brother.
got to experience the Ohio State rivalry. Now he gets to experience the real basketball rivalry. This is it. The Ohio State is a football university thing, but for basketball, this is it right here. This is it.
Yes, sir. It is real. Dropping dimes, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about a victory.
Yes,
Looking
sir.
forward to it. See you on the next edition of Steady Dropping Dimes. He said we going long today. Hey, y'all should have seen last week's episode. It was like 2 hours and 40 minutes. We'll see y'all next week.